Imagine France. What comes to mind first? Is it maybe the Eiffel Tower, all lit up against the Paris sky?
Hmm.
Or is it something totally different, like a field of lavender in Provence stretching out under the sun?
It's a great question because they seem like almost opposite worlds, don't they?
Exactly. How can one country hold both?
Well, that's precisely the duality, the incredible contrast within France itself that we're going to explore today.
Okay, sounds fascinating. So this deep dive is taking us through two really key regions then.
That's right. First, Île-de-France, the area around Paris, the real heartbeat of the
Right,
nation.
the powerhouse.
And then we'll travel south to Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur. Think ancient traditions, sunshine, the Alps, the glamorous coast.
A completely different feel. So
Yeah.
our mission today is to sort of unpack what makes each one tick.
Exactly. We'll look at the culture, the history, the sounds, the tastes, and how they both, in their own ways, show the complexity of France today.
And the idea is that you, listening, will get a quick but really thorough sense of this vibrant French duality.
Yes. Moving beyond the usual stereotypes, you'll pick up some fascinating facts, those little aha moments, hopefully, that you can share.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start right at the core with Île-de-France.
The nation's pulsating heart, you could say.
It's the most populated region, obviously home to Paris, and yeah, the political, economic, cultural center, all of it.
But what's really striking, I think, is that duality within Ile-de-France itself. It's a place of, well, immense grandeur, but also real grit.
Romance and resistance side by side.
Absolutely. Elites, immigrants, revolutionaries, visionaries. They're all there. And it's not just Paris, the banlieues, the suburbs surrounding the city. They have their own distinct cultures, their own voices.
That tension you mentioned between inner Paris, Paris intramuros, and the banlieues, it's something you can really feel, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It makes the region this incredible global crossroads, but also a place with significant internal class dynamics.
And when we talk culture in Ile-de-France, fashion and intellectualism seem to jump out immediately. Is it fair to say fashion works almost like a silent language of identity there, maybe more than elsewhere?
I think so, yes. In central Paris, that effortless elegance signifies a certain belonging, a tradition. You see it in the luxury brands headquartered there, Chanel, Dior, Givenchy, Saint Laurent.
Right, the classic Parisian look.
But then you go out to the banlieues, and it's a different story. Urban streetwear, sneakers, brands like Nike, Lacoste, they're huge.
With style becomes a statement.
Absolutely. It's not just what you wear, but who you are, where you're from. It's this constant, visible negotiation of identity. It's
Yeah.
quite powerful.
That really is a powerful way to put it. And thinking about how dynamic Ile-de-France is now, well, what about its history? How did it become this powerhouse? What were the key moments?
Oh, the history is just woven into the fabric of the place. It really explains why it's always been this crucible of change.
It started as Roman Lutetia,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, and then it became the royal power base for the Capetians way back in 987 AD with Hugh Capet. That really cemented its central role.
And then, boom, the revolution.
Exactly. The French Revolution in 1789, storming the Bastille, the Declaration of Rights, the Reign of Terror, all happened right there. This region has always been a hotbed for radical ideas and, well, action.
And you can't forget Napoleon getting crowned in Notre Dame or Haussmann completely reshaping the city in the 19th century. You still see that Haussmannian architecture everywhere.
Precisely. And even more recently, its role in World War II, the occupation, the liberation, and then the student and worker protests in May '68.
So it's always been a place where big ideas clash with gritty reality.
That's a good way to put it. And it continues today. It's still this major center for debates about identity, immigration, inequality, particularly focused on the banlieues.
So Ile-de-France is this complex mix of social and political forces. How does all that energy, sometimes turbulent energy, come out in its arts, its music, its food? Let's start with the sounds. Musically, it seems incredibly diverse.
Oh, absolutely. You've got the timeless chanson française, think Edith Piaf, Charles Aznavour, Juliette Gréco, and the unique gypsy jazz sound, Django Reinhardt playing the cafes.
Classic Paris sounds.
But then, totally different, you have this hugely influential French rap and hip-hop scene, especially from Saint-Denis, the 93. Artists like MC Solar, Booba, PNL, Vald, Subico.
A completely different voice.
A powerful one. And don't forget the electronic music giants rooted here, Daft Punk, Justice, David Guetta, plus the big classical institutions like the Opera Garnier, the Philharmonie. It covers the whole spectrum, really.
And visually, okay, everyone knows the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, Notre Dame, Arc de Triomphe,
Yeah.
symbols of grandeur. But to really get the region, you have to look beyond central Paris, right?
You absolutely do. You've got the sheer scale of the Palace of Versailles, the amazing Gothic Basilica in Saint-Denis, Fontainebleau Palace, even Disneyland Paris. But crucially, you also need to see the banlieues themselves. The modern urban landscape, the HLM housing blocks, yes, but also the vibrant street art, the murals, the underground culture. It's a different visual identity, but just as important.
Okay, from sounds and sights, what about the tastes? Ile-de-France is obviously a global gastronomic capital.
No question. It's known for that elegant, often elevated Parisian food. Croissants, baguettes, macarons, crepes, eclairs.
These classics.
And the bistro staples like duck confit, coq au vin, steak frites. You find everything from 3-star Michelin places to simple street-side creperies.
Any specific regional items we should know?
Definitely. You have the famous brie cheeses, brie de Meaux and brie de Melun, and the Paris Brest pastry, the one shaped like a bicycle wheel. It all speaks to that French culinary sophistication.
And how does language fit into this? Beyond standard French, it sounds like this complex urban mix shows up in the way people talk, too.
It really does, especially with Verlan, the slang where they flip words backwards. It's huge in youth culture and rap music.
Like ooh for crazy.
Exactly. Or muff for girl, tema for look, wesh for yo, or what's up, zarma for supposedly, often sarcastically.
Interesting.
And of course, you hear lots of other languages from the immigrant communities, Arabic, Wolof, Lingala, Antillean Creole. It adds to the richness.
Is there a local saying or motto?
Well, the official Paris motto is very telling. Fluctuat nec mergitur. Tossed but not sunk.
Yeah.
It really captures that resilient spirit. And people often call Paris Paname. It's a common slang term.
Okay. Tossed but not sunk. That's a powerful summary for Ile-de-France. Now, let's completely shift gears. Let's head southeast to Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur. Sun, sea, ancient roots. How different does it feel down there?
Oh, it's a remarkable shift in atmosphere, in pace, in, well, almost everything.
Yeah.
This region borders Italy and the Mediterranean. It's known for ancient traditions, yes, but also those alpine peaks and the glamorous coast.
So what defines its identity?
It's characterized by that Mediterranean lifestyle, slower living, maybe a siesta, bustling open-air markets. There's a very strong Provençal identity, rooted in Roman history, the Occitan language, rural life, Catholic traditions.
But then you've also got the Côte d'Azur part.
Exactly. The French Riviera culture, synonymous with luxury, tourism, film festivals, that kind of cinematic glamour.
And you mentioned the Alps, too, so there's a mountain culture as well.
Yes, definitely. Skiing, hiking, its own distinct dialects and traditions up in the mountains. So it's not just two identities, maybe more like three big ones coexisting. The rural Provençal, the coastal Riviera, and the Alpine.
That's complex in its own way. What about the history here? Is it as deep as Paris?
Oh, incredibly deep, but in a different way. You're talking Greek colonization. First, Massalia, which is now Marseille, was founded by Greeks around 600 BCE.
Wow, that's ancient.
It is. Then the Romans came. That was part of Gallia Narbonensis. You can still see amazing Roman arenas, theaters, aqueducts in places like Nimes, Arles, Orange.
Visible history.
Oh, very visible. And it wasn't always part of France. It was a semi-independent kingdom, the County of Provence, for a long time before being unified with France. These layers are everywhere you look.
And that history must have influenced its famous artistic legacy, all those painters.
Absolutely. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the light, the landscape, it just drew artists like Van Gogh, Cézanne, Matisse. The Riviera then became this haven for the wealthy elite, but also for artists seeking inspiration.
So how do those deep roots connect with traditions people still practice today?
You see it everywhere, like the Fête de la Saint-Jean, the Midsummer Festival with bonfires, or the Santon, these little hand-painted clay figures for nativity scenes, a real craft tradition.
Halcyon, though.
And pétanque, the bull game you see played in every village square under the plane trees. There are even transhumance festivals in the Alps, celebrating the moving of sheep, and the huge Carnaval de Nice. These aren't just quaint things for tourists, they're living connections to the past.
Okay, moving from traditions, what are the sounds and tastes of this region? Is there a similar kind of musical duality like we saw in Paris?
There is, actually, though maybe it feels a bit more blended sometimes. You've got the traditional Occitan folk music, often with the galabet, which is a type of pipe, and the tambourine drum. and the sort of melancholic chanson provençale.
The older sounds.
Yes,
Yeah.
but just like near Paris, there's a really vibrant modern rap scene, especially coming out of Marseille. Artists like IAM, Soprano, Jewel, SCH are massive.
Orsay rap is huge, yeah.
And then in the coastal cities, Nisk,
Yeah.
Ken, you find a thriving electronic and DJ scene too, often with influences from North Africa and Italy, reflecting the migration patterns. So it's this mix of ancient and very contemporary sounds.
Visually, it's stunning, too. Marseille, France's oldest city, the old port, Notre Dame de la Garde, overlooking everything, those amazing Calanque cliffs.
Right? And you have elegant Nice with the Promenade des Anglais along the beach, that very Italian architecture.
And Aix-en-Provence.
A very refined, historic university in Spa Town. Arles, of course, famous for its Roman arena and Van Gogh connection. Avignon, dominated by the huge Palace of the Popes. And Cannes, well, Cannes is Cannes Red Carpets, Film Festival glamour.
So many iconic places. What about the natural landscape?
Breathtaking. You've got the Camargue wetlands, wild white horses, black bulls, pink flamingos. It feels almost otherworldly. And the Verdant Gorge, they call it Europe's Grand Canyon, this massive river canyon. It's an incredibly diverse region visually.
It sounds it. And the food must reflect that sun and sea. Mediterranean flavors.
Completely. It's all about fresh, colorful, aromatic ingredients. Olive oil, garlic, tomatoes, herbs like thyme, rosemary. They're fundamental.
What are the absolute must-try dishes?
Well, bouillabaisse, the Marseille fish stew, is probably the most famous. Ratatouille, the vegetable stew from Nice. Things like tapenade, that olive paste. And aioli, the garlic mayonnaise, are everywhere.
Delicious.
Pan baignan is a great sandwich from Nice, basically a salade niçoise in a bun. And soca, a kind of savory chickpea pancake, great street food.
What about drinks? Rosé wine, I guess.
Rosé is king here, definitely. And pasties, that anise-flavored aperitif, is very typical, especially before dinner. For sweets, you have calisonde, those almond paste candies, and amazing lavender honey. The food just screams sunshine.
It really does. Okay, last piece. Language. Is there a distinct Provençal way of speaking, like the Verlan near Paris?
Historically, yes, very much so. Occitan, especially the Provençal dialect, was the main language. While French dominates now, Occitan is still preserved. It's taught in schools. You'll see it on signs.
Any phrases you might hear?
You might hear older people use adouciat for hello or goodbye, or bonjour for good day. The local French is full of flavor, too.
Like what?
Well, in Marseille, you might hear someone exclaim, "Oh, folle de chouchou." It's like saying, "Oh my goodness," or "No way." It's very expressive.
I like that.
And people talk about the smell of the garrigue, that dry, herby scrubland in summer, or the mistral, the strong wind that blows down from the north. There's even a word pagnolesque to describe something picturesque and nostalgic, like out of a Marcel Pagnol film or book.
From the writer, Pignon.
Exactly. It shows how deeply rooted that specific Provençal culture is, that it creates its own descriptive terms.
Okay, so as we wrap this up, we've looked at Ile-de-France and Provence-Alpes-Côte d'Azur. Clearly very different. But how do they, together, give us a fuller picture of France?
Well, I think it really drives home that France isn't monolithic,
Yeah.
right? It's this constant interplay of diverse regions, traditions, modern influences.
Seem like polar opposites in some ways.
They do, but they also share things. Deep historical roots, Roman influence, medieval history. Both are centers of huge artistic and cultural output, just different kinds. Piaf versus Cézanne, maybe. And both are dealing with modern tensions class in Ile-de-France, wealth disparities along the Riviera, the impacts of global migration in both places.
So understanding both is key to understanding France as a whole.
Definitely. It enriches your view beyond just Paris, showing the internal debates, the sheer variety within the country, and how that shapes its global image, too.
We've covered a lot: tradition and change, grandeur and grit, Paris and Provence.
It's been a journey across quite different landscapes.
So maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on.
Consider this. In a world that feels increasingly connected, maybe even homogenized, how do these really distinct, deeply rooted regional identities with their own histories, their own slang, their own food, how do they keep shaping, maybe even challenging, what it means to be French today?
What parts of their unique past will actually define their future? Something to think about.